Hi there, my name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today I'm going to try and fix my own microwave oven. So we've had this in the house for years and years, not only in this house but also the previous house as well. I can't remember when I bought it, but it must be at least 15 years old. But it doesn't get a huge amount of use. But it has been completely reliable, even though it has gone through 2 fires. So the inside of this is probably going to be completely black. One time I put in some popcorn microwave, you know, the ones that come in the bag and then you let it go round. Because it's not that big in here, I think the bag must have got stuck. I took a phone call, and then about 20 minutes later my wife was screaming that the house was full of thick smoke, and the kitchen was, honestly, there was smoke everywhere and everything in here was black. And then for the next few months of using it, every time you used it, it did actually stink out the kitchen. So that kind of black popcorny smoke must have, and also the bag of popcorn, there was no popcorn anymore, it was just charred lumps inside, but the smoke must have kind of stained whatever it is that's on the inside. But once the smell went away, it was then working fine again, and it went on fire again. Something else went on fire. I think it might have been popcorn another time, many years after. I think it was one of my kids this time. So, but it has been completely reliable until the other day. My son went to put some rice in there, and it's one of those ones like VT rice or whatever, the ones you put in for 2 minutes. And then he said, "Dad, it's not." I think it might be Uncle Ben's. He said, "It's not warm." And I was like, "All right, what have you done?" And then I couldn't see anything. I tried it, and I unplugged it, did it again. So basically, it's not heating up yet. It's doing all the right sounds and everything. So if I do that, it's spinning around, the light comes on and everything, it's just not heating up. So if I mean, I can't show you it not heating up, but after the 2 minutes or whatever, take the thing out, it's still ice cold. So all it's done is gone on a little spin round and hasn't done anything else. I've never looked at a microwave before. I say it in some of my videos, I should say it in all of them, but do not copy what you see in this video. I've never taken apart a microwave before. I do not know what the inside of them look like. So don't copy, because I probably will be doing things wrong. That's quite nice. I probably will be doing things wrong. So just treat it purely as entertainment and definitely not as a how-to. So let's, when I was bringing this upstairs, I seen that there's screws around the back. So let's start off by undoing the screws. Now obviously we are unplugged at the moment, but there might well be, there you go, warning, high voltage. Do not open, no user serviceable parts inside, to be serviced only by a service technician trained by manufacturer. So yeah, obviously it is unplugged, but there could still be massive capacitors on the inside. So let's undo this and let's see what's what. So it looks like the clever stuff is all over here. So now let's be really careful. So what have we got in here? You can see all the black staining around that fan. So magnetron. So that must be the magic that does the actual microwaving. So does that look a little bit loose on the top there? Can I touch that without getting a shock? Let's see what comes in. So it goes into here. We've got a little board there. Oh, we've got a fuse we can test there. So we've got a fuse here. And then the wires go off. Where do they go off to? They go off to, presume they go down there. And oh, we've got wires then going off down this way. And there's like one massive transformer down the bottom here. And what else we got? Got a bulb here, we know the bulb's working. Looks like we've got some sort of diode or something there. Well, I'm looking at the fuse. Well, it's not going to be the fuse, is it? Because it's coming on, so it's not going to be the fuse. I wonder, is it just going to be this thing here? So what I'm going to do is, there's definitely insulation on the top there. Let me just use the top of my screwdriver here and see, is that down in yeah, that is in its home. I thought it looked a little bit loose. Okay, well, let's get the multimeter out. And just trying to see, is there any capacitors or anything? Yes, there is. Down at the bottom here, looks like there's massive capacitors. Or maybe not, there's some massive. silvery looking thing down in this bottom corner. You see what the red wire is going into? So I want to stay away from that if possible. So that must be putting the high voltage into this magnetron. Such a great name, a magnetron. I'll have to Google that. Let's check this fuse here, just out of just to eliminate that, but I can't see it being that because the light and everything is on. Right, so I've just got my lead set to continuity. Let's just go across here. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So now we've got a brown wire. So from let's just follow this before we get too involved with the sort of microwave inside of it. So from these wires coming in here, we have the brown and the blue going into this side of the board. I presume they must go through the fuse. We've got a coil there, but then they're coming out here on the brown and blue, and look, the brown's broken off and goes into this thing here. So I'm just going to open up the door to see if I can see what this thing is. That goes into the compartment. That goes into the compartment, but I don't know what that would be for. Not sure what that is. Let's just see if there's continuity through it. Yes, there is. Right, so from there it then goes to the bulb here, and we know the bulb's working, and again there will be continuity through there. Okay, well, we've got resistance. Yeah, 132 ohms. And then from there it goes, where's it go? The brown wire goes down and it goes into, let me just get a torch. And it goes into this thing here, which I presume is going to be, right, that's a door switch, isn't it? That's a door switch, so we should be able to see if we've got continuity. Well, we have got continuity through the door switch, otherwise I presume the light wouldn't come on. But let's just double check the contacts. Let's just double check these contacts here. There we go. Yeah. And stop. So definitely the door switch is working. So it's not that. So then from there, where does it go to? I'm just going to get my head in the way a minute. From that switch there, it looks like there's a black wire going down and it goes to the very bottom. And it looks like it's going right the way under, and I think it's going to the spinny plate, the thing that spins the plate round. So this thing here, you know, that little thing in the middle there, so that must be a motor down there. We have got another two switches here that engage when the door is open, and then when you press the button, well, sorry, when the door's closed, it kind of engages this. It looks like it hits both of them. So I'm thinking one must be to say it's open, one must be to say it's closed. So let's just test them, but I think all that's working. I do not know. I mean, it could be a problem with this, couldn't it? Thing is, I don't really want to get involved with measuring the voltages unless I watch a tutorial on it or something to see. Let's just see a second. Let me just see if that's touching against that. No. Yeah, unless I watch a tutorial. I mean, there might be tutorials on it, and then if I can understand it more, I might feel safer to work on it. But I just don't feel safe going anywhere near that because I don't know it. I don't know what it does. I don't know how to test it. I don't know how it works. Also, that looks pretty scary in there as well. And you know, I'm happy to test capacitors like this, and I'm even happy to test capacitors which are much higher voltage. But if we're talking like thousands of volts or something, then I'm definitely not keen on doing that. Even that diode there is absolutely massive. Presume it's a diode, I don't know. Let me check out these little micro switches here, they'd be safe to work on. Okay, so that one's definitely working. Let's do the one above it. Okay, so that's working now when it's open. I think that's just me, hold on. Ooh, 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 ooh. Well, let's just double check that again. Oh, wouldn't it be great if it was a switch? Right, so that's going off now. So it's so hard to get too much in the way. Right. Okay. So what's that micro switch doing? Let's get a closer look in there. So that's going off. So the top one's working, the bottom one's working for the button. So this looks like it's a door close. The bottom one's working for the button here, but this middle one doesn't appear to be doing anything. This is a switch here that doesn't appear to make a difference whether it's open or closed. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to close the door. Now, watch this. It's when I hit the open button. Can you see here? So right now that should be on, I think. And now, can you see the green bit sticking out there? Look at the green bit just here, yeah? So when I close, there you go. See, when I hit this button here, it won't, doing this button doesn't do anything until the door is closed. I'm whacking this button at the front here. And now when I close the door, watch this green button. When I close there, do you see there? The green button goes down, doesn't it? As soon as I close that door. So surely that switch has to do something, and it's not. And if we trace the wires, we've got a blue cable going into it, which is the blue cable that goes up. I think it's the blue cable that comes over from this board here. So basically from this board, this connection, we have a blue cable going down, and that goes into the top of the switch, or sorry, the side of the switch there. And then on the top we have a black and a yellow wire. Now the black wire is actually the wire that goes off to the motor that spins. The black wire from this top switch here goes into this circuit board here, so I got that wrong. And then the yellow wire from that switch goes into this side of the transformer. Right, so that's the blue one off. And let's get the yellow and black off. That's off now. So now it's just a switch that we need. In theory, I wonder if we were to connect these two together, then that would test to see if it works or not. I'm just going to keep them out of the way in case they're short on something. It's going to be a bit of work, isn't it, having to take all this white thing apart, this thing that this switch is attached to, when maybe I might be able to just clean the switch up to get it to work again. Because maybe it's just a bit oxidized. Obviously if the switch is broken completely, then I will have to take it apart. But right now, for all I know, it could just be a bad connection. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my meter again, because the those things are off it now. And let's just see if it's doing anything different now. Even just wiggling that off it might have got it to work. There we go. Right. Well, it definitely wasn't doing that before, was it? Right, what I'm going to do is, I will clean it, but just for the time being, I am going to put these wires back on it. Now let's see if it's doing the same thing again. I mean, I'm not saying this is the fault, but it wasn't, you know, this switch must be doing something. Right, why when we have the switch on? So it's not that, is it? Because that must be working somehow differently, because when we take the wires off, it's... That's weird. Why is it doing that when the wires are on it? So does that mean the wire... That doesn't make any sense. Surely the switch should still be breaking it when the wires are on. Let's give it a wiggle. So does that mean we got a short on those wires then? All the time? Is that what that means? But saying that, no, it's up to the switch to make or break that connection. That's really confusing. Hold on a minute. Let's just see what we got on these wires. So the wires are always... I'm confused. The wires are always on. Right, let's go to an earth point on the bodywork. And now let's see. So we've got nothing there and nothing there. Yet together, they're always on. So they shouldn't be. It should be the switch that makes them go on. I wonder, am I barking up the wrong tree here? off to the motor. Where does this one? That goes to the transformer there. That blue one goes up to there. I'm already confused. Well, I'm going to take the bottom off this. I'm not going to worry about them just yet. Let's take the bottom off and see what's happening there. Unfortunately, I can't unscrew the bottom because everything is screwed onto the bottom, like all the transformer and everything. So if I undo those screws, this thing's just going to be, you know, sliding around the place. So, the very fact that the switch is working when there's nothing connected, because 100% when I get this meter here and put it onto continuity, that switch is working reliably every single time when the wires are not connected to it. So if I go onto there and here, put it onto continuity, you will hear that when I open it up, watch this, it will go off, close it, it will stop. So maybe that's just maybe I'm just reading that completely wrong. Maybe these wires are supposed to short or something. I don't know. But anyway, it's not the switch, is it? The switch is definitely working. So this goes down to a motor, and the other side goes to this transformer here. But let's just think about this a minute. The light is coming on, and it's spinning, and the programmer and everything at the front is working. All these lights come on here, and you can change the time. The thing that's not working, unfortunately, is the microwaving part of it, which is this beast here, this magnetron. So I think I need to, unfortunately, look at the higher voltage side of this, which I'm wary to do. So let's just carefully have a look in here. Let's see if I can get this camera any lower. There we go. Right, so what we got in here? Well, I suppose we need to trace where the wires go. So what gives this power here? We've got the mains coming in. They go down to this side here, and they go into the transformer here, and they come out this side here. Being really careful not to touch anything. Right, so then what have we got? We got red wires and red wires with little bits of black on there. One of the red wires goes into this thing here, which then goes into the, where does that go to? Is that side of the transformer? I can't see. Yes, that goes into that side of the transformer. So really I need to see if we've got high voltage coming out of here. What my worry is, I don't know what my meter goes up to. So I've put it on 240 volts before, that's no problem, but I don't know if it's going to do thousands of volts. I really didn't want to have to get involved in this thing down here. Right, what we got? Let me put the camera right down low so you can see. So we've got a red wire coming out of this one here, the one on the left, and then the one on the right, there's two wires coming out of it. One goes looks like they're both going into this big transformer thing. I really didn't want to have to deal with this side. Right, how am I going to discharge this safely? How am I going to discharge that safely? Go up to the magnetron there. And what's this thing here? F. Well, hold on. F. 700 milliamps. L5. Would that be? Is that 5,000 volts? Oh my God. Is that what that means? F. So that might be a fuse. So it could be the fuse that's blown, which would be good. But now, how am I going to measure that? So one side goes into there, and the other side goes. Into the connector there. So it does look like it pulls up. I'm just worried about the. See, if I put 5,000 volts into my meter, well, the thing is, it's not going to be 5,000 volts now, is it? But what is remaining in that? I don't want to blow my meter. Then we've got a fan up here as well. So I presume the fan's working. I didn't actually check to see if the fan was spinning. I need to check this fuse here. I think it might be I think it could be related to this fuse. Right, I know I don't normally do this, but I don't want to blow my meter and I don't want to blow myself up. I'm going to have a look online and I want to see how to safely discharge. I mean, I can discharge, for example, mains capacitors with this thing here. Yeah, because this is like a load of resistors in it, and what it does is it converts the power in the capacitor, the energy in the capacitor, into heat, and that will safely discharge it. The problem is I don't want to be reaching in there when I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, so I'm going to go online and I'm going to see how to test a microwave, but I'm thinking now that because we haven't got any power to the magnetron, or the magnetron, I'm thinking that it could be related to this fuse down here. I'll be back to this shortly. Right, so there is loads of information online and YouTube. There's so many videos. I must have just watched 5 or 6. There's videos all over the place. I couldn't believe how many videos they are. I suppose microwave is a worldwide thing, and it sounds like there's various different common problems. So a common problem is to do with this diode here, this high voltage diode. That can fail. Also this thing here can fail, and also the magnetron can fail, and all of these things are actually available quite cheaply. So diode seems to be under £5, fuse seems to be about £6 or £7, and the magnetron, I don't know about this particular model, but just when I typed it into eBay, they seem to be about like £12, £13. So it all looks like it's repairable. Now obviously I don't know if it's any of these. I need to test them, but first things, I need to discharge this capacitor to make it safe to work on. Now a lot of people were just using screwdrivers or pliers to short. Now I don't want to do that, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use basically 2 screwdrivers that are insulated, and you see I've got my crocodile clips across it because I don't want to touch this, because I've just put tape on. I've made up this lead myself for like 240 volts where you can where I don't have to, I can hold on to these bits here. There's no way I'm messing with this, because yes, apparently this transformer steps it up from like 240 volts all the way up to 6,000 or 7,000 volts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this insulator, I'm holding on to these bits, and I'm going to put this into here, and I'm hoping that energy will be transferred into heat in here. So let's give it a go. What's the worst that can happen? There might be a bit of a bang and my resistors here will blow. Do it this way. Right, I'm on that one there. Here we go. Right, I'm on them. So I'm going to leave it on there now for a good, so I'm going to leave it on there for a minute. I'll just fast forward through this bit. Well, I think that's long enough. That must be nearly a minute. Let's get my meter in here and let's see what it's doing. So I'm going to go to AC to begin with. Sorry, you can't see my meter. See, just to show you how little I know, I don't know if I should be measuring this in AC or DC. Anyway, can you see at the moment that's 0 AC? So let's go to DC now. And 0 DC. Yeah, so now I should actually be able to get some pliers and put it in here just to double check. And there you go, right, there's no bang or spark or anything. So now I am happy to work on that there. So I think to begin with, let's see if we can work on this little fuse here. So I'm going to get my pliers. I'm going to pull out this one here. There we go. And now I need to undo the fuse. So I believe it just wiggles out. I think it's got like female spade connectors on that side there. Here we go, which it has here. So I should be able to get a continuity check between here and here, and that will tell me if my fuse is good or bad. So again, let's just go to here. I'm in here, and I'm here. Brilliant. Excellent. There's nothing happening. Let's just go to normal ohms. No, look at that, completely open. Right, so let's open this up and have a look at the inside. I think I'll probably have to just buy the whole thing as it is. Now, just while we're here, let's come back up here and let's just double check this diode. Make sure that the diode's testing okay. Let's try to pull off the diode. There we go. And we'll pop this onto diode test. Mind you, what's caused the fuse to blow? It did say online that sometimes it can just happen. It doesn't mean that there necessarily has to be a fault, because there's a lot of strain put on the fuse all the time. But then other people say that there's an issue. Right, so it's open that way. So now let's go this way round and we should have a reading. Which we don't. Oh, right. So does that mean now my diode's faulty as well? Looks that way, doesn't it? Could it be that caused the fuse to blow? Right, let's put it onto normal ohms. Definitely not getting a reading, am I? Right, now let's go this way. Yeah, so the diode's gone. Right, I'm going to make a note of where all these things go to. I mean, I hope it's just a fuse on the diode. I hope, for example, I don't do that and then, for example, the magnetron's gone as well, or the capacitor. Maybe do you know what? I'm going to watch a video on how to test them too. I'm just going to scribble down what connection goes to where, because I'll forget this after a couple of weeks after the parts arrive. Right, I've done my nice little diagram here so I know what's happening. So might as well undo this and then I can get the readings off it, and also open up that fuse as well. So I wonder, was it the diode that failed which then caused the fuse to fail? Because I suppose if this fails, then mind you, it wasn't shorted, it's open both ways, isn't it? I was going to say if it was shorted, it's going to short to ground. But if that was the case, I suppose it wouldn't even turn on. Right, so that's what I need to buy. It says T3512H66. So I'm just going to go straight onto leads here just to make sure that it's not anything to do with the connections to that SPAY terminal. Right, that side's nice and clean, but this side is quite rusty. Anyway, look, definitely haven't got anything with the red lead on the left hand side. Swap them over. And we definitely haven't got anything that way as well, so that says to me that that's not working. Right, let's open up this. Here we go. Nearly there. Wow, nice. There you go, you can see the burning. Yeah. So 100% I need to buy a new one of them. Which is a shame when all it needs is a bit of wire from there to there, but I'm not going to know what wire to put in there, so I'll just have to buy that. Right, so we definitely have to buy these two at the moment. I've got to be a little bit careful that the price doesn't keep adding up and adding up, because the microwave is a very old microwave. So now we have to try other things. If it was these two, the capacitor and the magnetron, then it's really unfortunately not worth me spending out that money. It would be better, it would make more economic sense to just put that money to buy towards a new one, or even like a used one that's a couple of years old. But that is a shame, because then it means the rest of this thing goes to waste, which is just which is obviously bad, isn't it, when there's only a few components gone. But anyway, I'm going to go back online now. I'm going to see how to test a capacitor and also how to test the magnetron as well. So I've just been looking on YouTube and there's so much good stuff on there. So I've been reading up about this diode because I thought my diode was faulty, and when I type in my number there, it's only coming up with a diode. It's not coming up with, for example, diodes with these things already crimped on. But then people are saying they're selling this one here and they're saying that that is a replacement for this one here. But then I thought, well, would it be possible? You know, it's a high voltage diode. I've never tested these before, so I've gone onto YouTube for how to test a diode test, and I come across this YouTube channel here, Bob Calpon, and it's really good. How to test a microwave oven diode high voltage, and it's really simple. It's a really good idea. So what he did is he got a 9-volt battery. Let me get one of them. And because maybe this isn't faulty, which would be good because then I won't have to replace it. And he puts it onto DC voltage. So now if you have a look here, can you see that I've got 8 volts? Okay, that's a little bit weak, but hopefully it will still work. And then I've drawn it exactly as he's done it here. So my red lead from the meter will go to the diode where the line is, okay? And then my black lead will go straight to the battery, and then we get a reading, and then we swap it over. Now, if this is shorted, we know it's not shorted, because if this was shorted both sides, then my meter would have picked it up. But right now I'm thinking it's open both sides, so I think it's blown. But apparently my meter might not be strong enough to get this to work. So what we need to look for is my 9 volts or 8 volts, whatever this is, minus whatever the diode is going to take. And then that will mean that this could possibly be okay. So I need to put my red lead to this side here. I'm going to put this spade connector onto the negative of the battery, which is the big one here. And then I'm going to go onto it here, and let's see what it reads. So I'm on volts DC, remember? Right, so you can see there I'm not getting any readings. So that's open. That's not, 0.02 off a volt. Yeah? Okay, so now I'm going to turn it around this side. And there you go, 4.8 volts. So my diode is okay, because let's have a look. We've got 8, this is only 8 volts, so 4.8 is 3.2. So this is dropping 3.2 volts by going through the diode. So it looks like I don't need to replace the diode, so how good is that? But yet when it comes to diode test, my meter's not showing that, look. Because obviously my meter mustn't be putting enough voltage into it. Nothing that side, and nothing that side. So there you go, I've learned something. So when you're testing higher voltage things, or high voltage diodes, you can use a 9-volt batteries. That's fantastic. Right, so what else am I going to do? I need to test the capacitor and also the magnetron as well. So for that I'm going to put my camera up higher. Right, so I'm just going to take off this terminal here so I can get to this capacitor. There we go. And now, this is just a very basic test, but it's on continuity. And we're just going to be testing in between the terminals and also onto the casing. So I shouldn't have any continuity in between the terminals, which I haven't. I'm just going to swap my leads around. No, and now I'm going to go onto the casing itself. So one lead on one terminal, other lead on the casing. Well, do you know what? You can hear it beep, and I'll tell you whether there's anything on there. So nothing there. I'm just going to swap the leads around just in case. Nothing there. And now we're going to go onto that side. Nothing there. And nothing there. So I'm hoping that my capacitor will be okay. Now let's try this magnetron. So again, it's the same thing. So we're going to undo the top. There we go. Now we have 2 terminals here. So what we're going to do is go across the 2 terminals, again, just on continuity. So there's just 2 terminals up here. Yeah, so that's good. So we've got continuity there between them. Yeah, but we shouldn't have continuity between here and the actual case itself. So now I'm on the case here. Ah, that's not good. No, so I've got 44 ohms there. So my magnetron's gone. Yeah. Ah, that's a shame. Oh, I thought it might be just a fuse. So what it is the magnetron's gone, which has then blown the fuse. Alright, I'm really glad I didn't go out and buy that fuse, because the fuse that I need is basically on Amazon, it's $6.99. Because a lot of people are just selling the fuses that, you know, just a glass fuse itself, but look at this one here, it's different on the inside, and when you're dealing with such high voltages, I wouldn't feel happy just ramming in a glass fuse between here and here. So I mean, I suppose you could solder it on from this point to this point here, but I would rather just get the actual one like it's been designed for. Oh, I'm disappointed. So it is the actual magnetron that's gone. I mean, I can't really complain, it has lasted years. Oh, that's disappointing. Yeah. I wasn't expecting that. But then again, yeah, what's caused the fuse to blow? Let me just get a different angle so you can see. So there you go, 2 terminals here. Right, what I'm going to do is I am going to look up this model number here, see how much they cost. But now, between that and the fuse, I'm starting to think that maybe it's not worth doing this. But it does look easy to change out because there's just 2 screws there and 2 screws there, and I think it just unclips. Well, I'm going to type in this number here and see what comes up. Okay, bad news. I've looked up the price of the magnetrons and they're really expensive. So let's just do a few sums to begin with. So I definitely need to get a new fuse. I don't want to do a bodge by putting a fuse in there when you're dealing with such high voltage. So this one here is £6.99. So that is already £7 gone, you know, £7 to fix it. And now look, I've been looking up the magnetrons, and if I go to a proper Panasonic one, they are £77.35p, and I haven't on purpose picked the most expensive one. There doesn't seem to be that many with this model number here, probably because it's quite old now. It's model number 2M211AM1, and if you have a look, this is the one from my one, 2M211AM1. Now, I've looked up the specification of my microwave, NN-E225M, and some websites say it's 19, some say it's 20 litre. It's only 800 watts. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm happy with that, but it's 800 watt. So I have looked up the price of equivalent brand new Panasonic microwaves, and check it out. From Argos, if we go here, they are £79.99. Yes, it's not silver, it's black. The one next to it is in white. I think I'd quite like a black one. So is it worth me spending the same amount of money, no more money, to fix one that is already 15 years old? And for example, the micro switches might go, the motor might go, or numerous other things might go, and also it's been on fire a couple of times. The answer is unfortunately no. So although it could be annoying for some people because they haven't seen the fix on the video, I'm not annoyed at all because I've proved what the fault was. There's no doubt in my mind that the fuse is blown, and there's no doubt in my mind that the magnetron is gone. And the reason the fuse blew must be because the magnetron shorted itself to the case of the magnetron, which in turn is all grounded to the actual case of the microwave. So I think that's what's happened, and then it blew the fuse. So I'm actually at peace with this, and the microwave owes me nothing because I've had it for years, and I think it would be silly to spend as much money to repair something when I can get a new one. It doesn't make financial sense. Also, chatting to my wife, she would also like a larger microwave because 20 litre can sometimes be a little bit on the small size if the plates are big, or for example, if you're putting a bag of popcorn in there, it can get caught, which caused the fire in the first place. And if I have a look down here, Argos to a Samsung one for £89.99, and this one here is a 23 litre, which I presume would probably be just about enough. And she's had a little look, and from another company, I think Appliance Direct or something, I'm not sure, you can get it for £79.99. So £80 for a bigger microwave, and Samsung is a brand I would be happy with. Now, if I look on eBay, there are loads of magnetrons that are a lot cheaper, but they're not my model number apart from this one here, and this is from the States. Again, same model number up here, 2M211A, and if you have a look, I would be paying £24 plus £15 postage, or call it £16 postage by the time you add up all the pennies. So I would save myself £33. I don't think it's worth saving 30. So in essence, it's for £33 more, I can get a brand new microwave which is bigger and will probably last me another 15 years. You can see why by spending a little bit more money in this instance is definitely worth getting a new one. So yeah, that's it. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe for more Trying to Fix videos. Take care. Bye now.